Hello, fellow life transitioners, and welcome to a little video recap of our life transition session 8. I've decided to do this little video because so many of you were absent earlier today. The only persons present were Andre, Joseph, and myself. And I promised that I would do a little video recap instead of the normal write-up recap so that persons can get the feel. We have been traveling and working through our life transition struggles together for the past 8 weeks. And today is the 8th or 9th week. I have to double check. But we've embarked on the last leg of the journey. I think it's probably the 9th week. We've embarked upon the last leg of the journey. And over the last 8 weeks, what we have been doing was exploring life transitions. And we used biblical figures to understand concepts of a Christian life transition and a Christian life journey. And we followed the example and studied Joseph, Moses and the Exodus, Ruth and Naomi and David. And part of their stories where we identified pharaohs and we identified Goliaths. And we have over those weeks been exploring and urging and encouraging each other to move forward and accept the life transition. One of the key lessons we learned in life transitions was that life transitions are not a reset. It's not to begin again with something new. Life transitions from a Christian perspective is a stage of growth and development. A stage of growth and development where we were going along a particular route, circumstances came and stopped everything, and we struggled at this transition, and then we embark on a new direction. And it is God in Christian life transitions and in Christian journeys, it is God who is the architect. God who is using worldly circumstances in order to direct us to growth and development. And we saw that in the stories of Joseph, Moses, Ruth and Naomi and David. They all grew because of their transitions. And we have been looking at our life transitions as well. In this our 8th week, as we start the last 4 sessions, we're moving from our life's transition to start the journey in a new direction. And in this respect, we are using Abraham's journey. And as David pointed out to us, we are using it as a metaphor, as an allegory, that it is teaching us basic concepts of life transitions and life journeys from a Christian perspective. And we are using biblical figures. So while we may not be physically traveling like Abraham from point A to point B, we are all embarking on a journey in a new direction to a new promised land, which is a growth and development from where we were before. Abraham was leaving the Ur of the Chaldeans and journeying to an unknown promised land that God had told him. We saw that, and we explored in this first session, that it must have taken Joseph at life transition. He must have gotten a message from God, and he must have struggled with it over weeks, over months probably, before he would embark. And like us, he was also in a life transition, because this was a major turning point in his life. I also shared that from my research, many commentators or archaeologists or historians suggests that Abraham's journey would have been a group of about 50 to 100 persons. It would include his wife, his nephew Lot, and it would also include other family members, many servants, and many animals, livestock. And to carry them, they would have tents. So embarking on this sort of journey was no little endeavor. It would have taken some planning to pack up everything and embark. And therefore, we can see that just as in Abraham's situation, we also have been struggling with our life transitions. And now we embark, we set off. So after a while, Abraham must have made up his mind and said, let us go. Now, this was no easy job to say, let us go, because it would require 100 people or thereabouts, taking up all his possessions, all his livestock, tents, family, and beginning on a journey to who knows where. We reflected that probably Sarah, his wife, would have been in doubt, because we saw that Sarah many times doubted him and didn't agree with him. So maybe Sarah may have objected. Maybe Sarah would have asked him, are you sure this is God telling you to do this? Where are we going? Are you sure? And we saw that it could be similarly for us. We are not sure, but yet, because of this urge, because of circumstances, we believe God is sending us off in a new direction. And therefore, He is asking us to leave everything familiar and to go off into the unknown, seeking a promised land. Abraham is also don't have all the details. He doesn't know which direction he is going. He's not sure. He's just leaving and he's heading north, and he is not sure and hoping that God will be with him as he journeys along. We saw today that this would require him being constantly praying as he journeyed along. We saw this in the form that he would set up altars along the way. And we saw this as a concept in our journey, that we also must make sure that as we journey forward, we are in constant contact through prayer and a deep relationship with our Lord Jesus Christ, the risen Christ, and God, the Trinity. We saw that today, that as we embark on this epic adventure with new terrain, new people, new situations, new challenges, we must be in constant contact with God. We realized today that this journey as the life transition is not a reset. We are not restarting life. We are not setting up a new beginning. This is a stage of growth and development. We are bringing with us all that we have learned, all that we have studied, all our experiences, all our ideas, what we have learned along the way in our life, and we are taking it to another stage. We understood that Abraham was about 75, and he must have collected a lot of possessions, and he must have learned and have within him a lot of understanding of geography, of animal husbandry, of managing a large household, of understanding terrain, where to find water, where to find pasture, how to avoid other people's lands, how to travel, how to understand the night sky and learn directions from it. A lot of skills that he would have been taking with him. It is similar in our journey. Even though we are embarking on a journey in a new direction and we have emerged from a life transition, or we are emerging from a life transition, we have with us a lot of skills. In our discussions, it was brought to our attention that we never fully leave Pharaoh behind. Pharaoh will follow us, he will pursue us, he will try to defeat us, he will try to stop us. We have Pharaoh who is traveling with us, but we must put him aside, trust in God, look forward and move forward, even as Pharaoh stays pursuing us. As we embark on life transitions, we recognize, like the story with David, we will encounter an external Goliath. This is the new terrain, this is the new situation. We believe Abraham must have encountered some enemies along the way, some different tribes who will threaten him. And Abraham would have had to be able to negotiate his way and pass along and avoid. It's the same way that we have to encounter our Goliaths. It was amazing that for many of us in the life transition group, we have found ourselves in similar position. Damon wrote to us just before we started and said to us that he also has finally decided to leave his life transition and embark forward. He has made a major decision in his business and he is moving forward. We heard from Andre that Andre has made some progress along his idea, the direction that he wants to go into with his new business venture, and he is assiduously moving in that path. Today we also understood that Joseph is saying that he also wants to emerge from this life transition, and he must, and he has promised to work with us to journey forward and to move out of his life transition and embark upon his journey. It was also amazing that I myself, after being in a life transition for a while, have embarked on a journey myself. I start as a parish administrator and spiritual director for St. Patrick's Church Parish and Newtown Boys and Newtown Girls Primary Schools. I start that on the 1st of July. I also find myself embarking, like Abraham, on a journey. I believe that others in the group, Barry, Wayne, and others, also have to decide, Rayan, have to decide to move along, to embark on their journey, to take Pharaoh with us, to stop procrastinating, and for us to embark on that journey, that wonderful journey of growth. This is a very important stage in our life transition as we move from the struggles and the confusion of being immersed in negotiating with Pharaoh and fighting Pharaoh, and now having gotten the all go, we embark. Let us go. We cannot remain here any longer. We must embark on our way. I am urging you to read the story of Abraham and to see it as a metaphor and an allegory for each of our journeys, from our life transition. As we read the story, try to look at the context, not just the words. what is the context? Try to understand and probably look up on the computer, what would the terrain be like? What places Abraham will have to pass through? How he has to endure patience, how he has to endure and stay the journey. And there may be times along the way when he probably questioned whether or not he had made the right decision. But we must, like Abraham, continue forth because we are following God's calling. Life transitions and the journey, the subsequent journey from a transition, is a Christian journey of life. And it is a Christian journey of growth and development. It is not a reset. It is not a zero sum. It is a developmental stage that God is calling you to something even bigger. I myself had seen that at the age of 68, I had settled and said, I will just be a deacon here in St. Joseph, and I will build this online ministry in tandem with my physical ministry in parish. And here I am, embarking on a new journey, having to travel, going to a strange place, meet strange people, meet strange challenges. So it is with you, with each one of you. And I am happy that we are traveling as a caravan, that we are supporting each other, that together with each of our families, we are traveling on this journey, not as individuals, but as a caravan of families. Each family holding together with their camel and their possessions and their livestock, but together, all of these families making up a caravan as we head north out of Ur of the Chaldeans and heading, because God is calling us towards a new promised land. I look forward for our journey together over the next 3 weeks. I will update the PowerPoint presentation. I urge you to read the story of Abraham, and I urge you not to get cold feet, not to linger because Pharaoh is pursuing us, but to move forward with alacrity and speed and purpose as we head off into a new direction. Thank you for being part of this caravan, and I look forward to journeying with each one of you and your families. Bye for now.